If I had to explain in a nutshell exactly what transpired, I would say that Social Security Administration stole my money without explanation and thought I would roll over and play dead and accept it. And it just didn't happen.
In 2013, Mary Grice was notified by the Social Security Administration that her federal and state tax returns were being withheld to pay for a debt the agency claimed had been incurred in the 1970s.
My father passed away in May of 1960, and there were 5 children and my mother. And so under Social Security, if someone who has worked and paid in the quarters and all, their survivors are eligible for survivor benefits.
The lawsuit claimed that the Social Security Administration went after Mary to collect an overpayment made when she was a child, despite the fact they had no proof that she herself had ever received the overpayment.
I said, maybe I need to call a lawyer just to see, is this legitimate? Can they really do this?
Mary came into me and explained what the Social Security Administration had done to her, and it sounded crazy. It sounded incredible. My first thought is that this is a huge problem. Is this the kind of thing that I really want to mess with? But then my second thought is, whenever you have a huge problem, it means there's a huge opportunity. So I said to her, look, we could do this conventional way, which would mean going through the Social Security administrative process, and at the end of the day you might get your money back, but we'll spend so much time that we'll lose anyway, and nothing will change. And I said, I would suggest we take this into federal court and try to make some law.
When he took up the cause, I was elated. And, I've seen him in court and listened to him, and I'm like, way to go,
I try to do cases that make a difference, that do something good for the public as well as for my clients. And this, I thought, was a terrific opportunity to bring to light, first of all, Social Security practices that most people just didn't know about, and to try to make some law that would force them to change these practices. The Social Security Administration has had this policy since 1964, and they have never yet been challenged on it in federal court because the people that they collect overpayments from cannot typically afford counsel.
After Mr. Vogel filed a lawsuit on her behalf, the Washington Post picked up the story about her and her battle with Social Security. Several other media outlets also picked up the story.
And the reaction of the Social Security Administration was immediately to pay Mary her money back. And then in response to all the publicity, people from around the country started contacting me. I probably got between 50 and 100 emails. I went through all of them to try to figure out who would be good representatives of the different kinds of constitutional violations the Social Security Administration was engaging in. I got back to these people and asked them if they'd be willing to participate in the lawsuit as class action plaintiffs. The reason we brought a class action case in this is that we didn't want to give the Social Security Administration the opportunity to just make good for a couple of people and ignore the problem for the rest of the country. It's not the kind of case that I typically do where it involves, bringing back millions of dollars to the government and hopefully very, very large rewards to clients, but it has a huge impact on individual people's lives. And the most rewarding thing is almost immediately after we filed the suit and got the publicity, Social Security came out and announced an immediate moratorium on the practice of going after these old debts. Now we're fighting them because they're still keeping money that they've taken wrongfully from a lot of people, from thousands of people. And that's our goal in the lawsuit, is to make them permanently stop the practice and refund the money that they took.
I saw in Rob a will and a desire that, I want this case. It's about constitutional law. I like constitutional law, and the Social Security Administration is just wrong.
I don't like it when companies, institutions, or in this case, our government, go after defenseless people